End 2025, North American corn tells a tale of two nations. One grappling with crisis, the other seizing opportunity. The fate of a simple crop now mirrors the shifting fortunes of entire economies. In the US, a crisis brews as American corn shipments are rejected worldwide. Casualties of a bitter trade war that has upended decades of agricultural dominance. Once welcomed in ports across the globe, American corn now sits idle, its journey halted by tariffs and political standoffs. Once the backbone of global agriculture, U.S. farmers now face overflowing silos and plummeting exports, their livelihoods threatened by policies meant to protect them. The fields that once symbolized abundance now echo with uncertainty as unsold corn piles up and hope dwindles with each passing season. Meanwhile, Canada is seizing the moment. As their southern neighbors struggle, Canadian farmers are experiencing a renaissance, their fields alive with activity and optimism. Canadian corn, now the gold standard, is snapped up by international buyers eager for stability and tariff-free trade. Countries once loyal to American grain are forging new partnerships, drawn by Canada's reputation for reliability and open markets. As American ports report record lows, Canadian businesses ink billion-dollar deals, filling the void left by their southern neighbors. The contrast is stark. Empty terminals in the US, while Canadian ports bustle with new trade and opportunity. The global market has shifted its gaze north, rewarding Canada's readiness and reliability. Canadian exports surge, and the world's appetite for corn is now satisfied by a new supplier. This reversal is more than economic, it's symbolic. The lowered American flag in the cornfield marks a turning point, a moment when agricultural leadership quietly changes hands. The US, long the world's breadbasket, now watches as its title slips away. For many, the sight of abandoned equipment and empty fields is a painful reminder of what once was. Canadian success is a stark reminder of what the US has lost, the result of high-stakes policy gambles. The celebration in Canada stands in sharp contrast to the disappointment and frustration south of the border. The foundation of global commerce, trust and predictability has been shaken. Failed negotiations and closed doors have left American exporters sidelined, while new alliances form elsewhere. For American farmers, uncertainty replaces generations of confidence. Families who have worked the land for decades now face the prospect of selling their farms, unsure of what the future holds. Canada's rise isn't a blip, it's a strategic shift, redrawing trade routes and reshaping destinies. New infrastructure and trade corridors are being built, cementing Canada's place in the global market. The world is watching as North America's fields tell a story of disruption and realignment, a story where the future of farming, trade, and national identity is being rewritten before our eyes. The roots of this crisis lie in aggressive tariffs imposed by the Trump administration in early 2025. These sweeping trade measures were introduced with the promise of revitalizing American manufacturing and protecting domestic jobs, but their impact on agriculture was swift and severe. Intended to protect American industries, these tariffs triggered swift retaliation from major trading partners, with agriculture taking the hardest hit. Countries that once relied on U.S. crops quickly found new suppliers, leaving American farmers scrambling to find buyers for their harvests. For U.S. corn farmers, costs have soared, equipment and fertilizer prices are up, while export markets have dried up. Many farmers are now forced to store unsold grain, hoping for a turnaround that may never come. Profit margins, already thin, are vanishing, pushing many farms toward insolvency. The financial strain is visible in rural communities where foreclosures and abandoned equipment are becoming all too common. Key export ports like Savannah and Tacoma have seen double-digit drops in traffic, reflecting lost sales and broken contracts. The ripple effect is felt by shipping companies, dock workers, and local economies that depend on agricultural exports. The impact extends beyond corn, affecting nearly all U.S. agricultural exports. Soybeans, wheat, and other staple crops are piling up in storage, with nowhere to go. Unlike the pandemic's supply chain chaos, this crisis is self-inflicted, born of policy, not disaster. The pain is not from a natural catastrophe, but from decisions made in Washington. The American agricultural sector, once dominant, now finds itself trapped by the very tariffs meant to shield it. Once busy fields now sit idle, and the sense of pride in feeding the world has been replaced by uncertainty and frustration. Farmers are left with unsold harvests and mounting debts. Many are being forced to auction off equipment or even their land, as the financial pressure becomes unbearable. The tariffs, designed as a shield, have become a cage, Instead of protection, they have isolated American agriculture from the world market. The U.S. is now locked out of the global marketplace it once led. As other nations forge new trade alliances, America's absence is increasingly felt. The consequences are rippling through every corner of rural America. Families, businesses, and entire communities are struggling to adapt to a new reality, one shaped not by global forces but by the unintended consequences of domestic policy. As U.S. corn is sidelined, left to gather dust in storage facilities and empty silos across the Midwest, a dramatic shift is unfolding in the global corn market. Canada has stepped up, transforming itself into the world's new corn supplier almost overnight. Fields that once played a supporting role are now at the center of international attention, as Canadian farmers work tirelessly to meet soaring demand. International buyers, eager for stability and quality, have turned to Canada. The country's premium corn is now in record demand, with buyers praising its consistency and reliability. China, once a top U.S. customer, has shifted its focus northward. Multi-billion-dollar contracts are being signed, and new partnerships are forming, signaling a major realignment in global trade. Canadian ports are now bustling with activity, rapidly expanding to handle the surge in exports. Meanwhile, U.S. ports that once thrived on corn shipments now sit eerily quiet, their grain terminals idle. Years of investment in infrastructure and logistics are paying off for Canada. Modern grain terminals, efficient railways, and advanced logistics centers have made it the reliable choice for global buyers seeking certainty. This isn't just a temporary windfall for Canada, it marks a fundamental long-term shift in the global corn trade, with shipping routes and export statistics reflecting the new reality. Canadian agencies have streamlined the export process, making it easier than ever for new customers to switch suppliers and receive their shipments on time. They're not just selling corn, they're selling certainty, trust, and a promise of uninterrupted supply in a volatile world. For food producers worldwide, that reliability is invaluable, ensuring their operations run smoothly and their shelves stay stocked. Canada is building lasting relationships and capturing market share that the U.S. may never reclaim, as buyers sign long-term agreements for years to come. Even if tariffs are lifted and trade tensions ease, the damage to America's reputation as a reliable supplier is already done, leaving U.S. farmers anxious about the future. The Corn Crown has moved north, and with its newfound confidence and global trust, Canada is here to stay as the world's leading corn supplier. For American farmers, the trade war's impact is devastating and personal. Family farms, some generations old, face extinction as export markets vanish and debts soar. Overflowing silos and collapsing prices have shattered the promise that hard work yields a fair return. Tariffs have slammed the door on exports and driven up the cost of everything from steel to fertilizer. The result: rising costs, falling revenues, and a business model that no longer works. The emotional toll is immense. Hopelessness and despair grip rural communities. When farmers suffer, entire towns feel the pain, from equipment dealers to local shops. Many are forced to take on crushing debt, downsize, or leave farming altogether. The exodus threatens America's food security and agricultural leadership. The heartland is hollowing out, its future uncertain. The crisis is not just economic, it's existential. The fate of rural America hangs in the balance. As if tariffs weren't enough, the Trump administration's push for Coca-Cola to switch from high-fructose corn syrup to cane sugar has rocked the corn industry. Framed as a health initiative, the move is seen as a political blow to corn growers already reeling from lost markets. The Corn Refiners Association warns of job losses and falling farm incomes, especially in the Midwest. Though corn syrup is a small slice of the crop, Coca-Cola's shift could trigger a broader move away from corn-based sweeteners. The policy pits corn states against cane sugar producers, deepening divisions in U.S. agriculture. For corn farmers, it's another market under threat. Another blow from unpredictable policy. America's tariffs have forced the world to adapt fast. India negotiates for relief, even pausing Russian oil purchases to appease the U.S. Switzerland's watch, and aircraft industries are hit by steep tariffs, while Canada faces new barriers despite some USMCA protections. Global trade has become a chess match, with countries constantly reassessing alliances. Corporations are diversifying supply chains, shifting manufacturing to Vietnam, Mexico, and India to avoid U.S.-China crossfire. Some, like Apple, are bringing production home to dodge tariffs. Over two-thirds of U.S. companies report profit hits and uncertainty. The economic fallout is global, with casualties on every continent. Trade turmoil is now hitting American consumers directly. Imports have plunged, with container traffic down over 40%, leading to product shortages and logistical nightmares for retailers. Lean inventories threaten empty shelves by the holiday season, driving up prices on everything from electronics to food. The end of the de minimis exemption means even small online purchases now face tariffs, raising costs for millions. Shipping slowdowns threaten jobs for dock workers and truckers. Food prices are especially vulnerable, as corn market chaos ripples through the supply chain. Fewer choices, higher prices, and rising unemployment are the new reality. The trade war's pain is now felt in every American home. As the dust settles, American agriculture faces an uncertain future. The top priority: de-escalate trade wars and rebuild trust with global partners. Long-term, the industry must diversify markets and innovate, reducing reliance on a few export giants. Strengthening the domestic market and investing in new uses for corn are essential. The cane sugar coke controversy is a wake-up call. Public perception and policy matter. Only a stable, forward-looking strategy can restore America's agricultural leadership. The seeds sown now will determine the harvest for generations to come.